today is Craig Foster, the CEO of Ondo InsurTech. Craig, great to be catching up with you at the end of the week. How are things?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good. Thank you for your time. We'll get this out today on Friday, the end of what's been a pretty interesting week in the markets here. We've got a couple of things to catch up on. First of all, the pilot, the new trial you've announced with Hanover Limited. So this follows on nicely from Liberty Mutual. So is this another sort of top 20? Is this the third top 20 insurer that are now working with you?
Yeah, that's right. So we announced a new contract with the Hanover, so another top 20 US carrier that we've signed. It's another big step for us in the US, a new insurer. They're going to launch into 2 US states to start with. And it's further validation, that LeakBot is resonating with some of the biggest insurance companies in the US. And it's consistent really with what we're seeing across the board in the US. Strong interest from major carriers and growing momentum in deploying our technology at scale. They were one of the members of the IoT Observatory, the think tank. So we were with them in Nashville recently. So it seems to be that sales approach just seems to be bearing fruit already.
Yeah, indeed, that's really good that you've come back, and maybe that lead has helped crystallise this. So the RNS was pretty short, as they often are, but it's nice to see the name there. And I presume you say it's consistent, so presumably it's consistent with all the existing partnerships in the US in terms of what you've agreed with.
Exactly.
Payments, revenue. Yeah, okay, it's all the same.
Right.
Okay, good. So hopefully they like the trial and they can expand that later on in the year. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, another bit of news that came out is, of course, your results here. Some of your revenue results. So the first one I want to just talk about the customer growth. Generally, that's pretty good, isn't it? So you're up 59% from 95,000 in 2024 up to 151,000 now registered customers. And US customers has grown 434%. So you're standing at 34,000 there. So you've got pretty good momentum. Those are pretty good numbers, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you can see a bit of a momentum shift in the kind of curve that we're adding new registered customers now. And that's really driven by the US. So in the second half of the year, the majority of that customer growth is coming from the States. That's overall very positive. Revenue's up 40%, and the contracted recurring revenue as well is at almost 6 million. And that's so strong growth. We're in a strong financial position as well, Mark. Got 4 million of cash, no need for new funding. We've got those contracts in place with 7 relatively recent signings in the US now. Which gives us access to nearly 6 million customers in the 23 states that we're already in. So the backdrop for this is obviously very positive.
Excellent. So that's 6 million, as you would call, addressable household in the United States there.
That's in the 23 states that we're already in.
Okay. Excellent. Good. Now you mentioned revenue there, so that is up 40% from the previous results. But you did say that it's been impacted because of some issues with Sweden. I think you did put a bit of a trading statement out saying you expected 4.8 million. So you're a little bit down on that at 3.8. Could you sort of elaborate as to why that's happened?
Yeah, I mean, that was just one of those things that was really frustrating, Mark, to be honest. So I can't go into commercial details about specific partners, but that was a deal where we ship in kind of bulk orders, so it can have a bigger short-term impact on revenue. And it was an order that just got moved into next fiscal year. So I mean, sometimes we're working with very large enterprises, and sometimes a small decision to them can have a outsized impact on us. So, it's an order that's moved into next fiscal year, but obviously had a big impact on our numbers that we weren't expecting. So frustrating, but just one of those things.
Okay. And you mentioned about deferred revenue as well. So this is undelivered LeakBot. So this will sort of reflect in perhaps the next or even the one after results. It'll be quite a lump that comes through.
Yeah, that's right. There's over 3 million of deferred revenue in the business at the moment. So that's quite simply when partners have already paid us, we've got the stock ready to go, and they're contractually committed deployments that we haven't managed to get out the door with them. So that's revenue that will hit in relatively short order as the partners execute the plan. So it's a good sign that we're on a good track for this year.
Good. And you mentioned cash there. You say you've got 4 million and no need for funding. So that's obviously good to hear. And also the RNS reiterating that you're on track for that positive EBITDA trading by March 2026. So you're still confident that you're going to get to that positive state, well, in less than a year now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're on track for that.
Excellent. Good. So generally, Craig, despite the perhaps frustrations, as you say, with Sweden there, but that should work itself out. How are you feeling about the momentum generally with the company, particularly given, I guess, what's happened this week in the stock markets, where pretty much everyone has taken taken some damage?
Yeah, it's been interesting times. We're trying not to concern ourselves too much with that. I mean, one question has been, are the Trump tariffs going to affect us, obviously, as a company that are exporting to the US? But it's important there to remember that we are billing our US partners, $60 a year recurring into the future for every home where the LeakBot service is active. But that's a service, a multifaceted service that's been provided by our US entity, LeakBot USA. So the Trump tariff only actually affects the hardware cost that is for the actual sensor when it gets imported to the US. So it's actually only a couple of dollars that the tariff impacts us. So it's not particularly material. So we're not too worried about that. Yeah, the backdrop for us as a business is very positive. I mean, with the recent US signings now, our 24 as of today insurance carriers insure 13 million homes, and the majority of those are now in the United States. So that's our focus, and everything that we focus on now is really about making sure we consistently deliver that excellent customer service and that claim saving. We just had a review with NFU in the UK yesterday, and we went through the results, and we just hit the same thing every time, where sometimes as high as 90 net promoter score, and then a really strong return on investment for the partner that we can demonstrate pretty much immediately on a new deployment. So that's why we've got the direction of travel is one way at the moment, despite some short-term frustrations with delays, as we've already talked about.
Yeah. Okay. So things are going nicely in the United States as that continues. In terms of the production, the facility, I know there were some upgrades going on there.
I know. I promised you a factory visit, so we have got something interesting to show you. I'm told it will be live fairly soon, May at the latest. So we'll do a visit, and we'll do a video from there.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Craig Foster, the CEO of Ondo InsurTech, for your time today.
Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at StockBoxMedia.com. Thank you for watching.